way to cover. Talking about being on your hands. Kung Fu Fitness on Instagram, here with my son Nathan again to do another video for you guys. So today I saw a video that was a bit disturbing. It was a gentleman on a subway train that was being attacked. First he was being punched, and then eventually when his back was turned, he was choked and then he passed out. So one thing that I noticed from the video was that the victim was not prepared to protect himself. He was panicking in the situation. So I just want to make a short video about grab defense, choke defense. Some of the techniques that we would use are going to be very similar. And so with any of these techniques, it requires training and repetition so that when you are in that high stress situation, you're ready to use it. Being exposed to it once or twice might not be enough. So even without a partner, you could still train. So we will show you in just a moment. So one of the first techniques and one of the very, very first things that we taught, or rather that I learned from my father, was that what happens if someone bear hugs you from behind? Well, there's a lot of different techniques that are available from various different martial arts styles. But the one that I had learned was that you would shift your hips. So Nathan's gonna shift his hips to the side, and that exposes my private area. I'm wearing a cup right now, so we're gonna go ahead and let Nathan actually try to strike it. So what he's gonna do is, and I'm actually gonna grab him fairly hard, and he's gonna shift and hit. Okay, he can shift to the other side as well. Shift your hips to the other side, and you can also strike. So in the situation where your attacker is grabbing you really, really tight and he might be moving as well, you don't just do one strike. You can actually keep shifting and just keep thrashing and striking until you get released, okay? So we'll do it from this view here. So Nathan, you're gonna shift your hips to the side. Good, and strike, good. Turn your hips and strike, good. Turn your hips again and strike, good. So this works for a bear hug, but this also works for a choke, all the same. Yes, it is uncomfortable to be choked. You're probably gonna be panicking a bit more, but that's why we train through repetition until you instinctually defend yourself with these techniques. So the second you're grabbed, you're gonna go ahead and shift your weight, shift your hips, Nathan, shift your hips, and strike, okay? Go ahead, shift your hips the other way, and strike. There you go. Can you do it repeatedly? Strike, strike, strike. You can even strike from the same side. You can strike from the same side. Just tilt your hips, and just strike, strike, strike until I let you go, okay? So that is a technique that you can use if you are grabbed in a bear hug or even choked from the side, okay? Another thing that's pretty obvious is that if you're bear hugged like this, one thing that you could attempt to do is also to headbutt. So you're gonna lean back and you're gonna hit your attacker's nose, right? Once you hit their nose, chances are their eyes are gonna tear up. It's very uncomfortable. They'll probably let you go. But you can use a combination of headbutt, moving your hips, and striking. Very good, Nathan. Just like that. You can use a combination. Just don't be an easy victim. You have to thrash and get out, right? Another analogy that we used to use is like be a flopping fish, okay? Because this makes it very easy to control him if he's not moving. But if Nathan is kicking and thrashing and trying to get out, then it's a lot harder to control him, okay? Now, you would say, what happens if you're smaller and the person picks you up, right? So I'm gonna pick up Nathan. I'm gonna pick him up off the floor. Now, he would do the same thing. He would raise his feet up and use his heels, and he would kick those sore spots, the spots that would make me let him go. Another thing, let's just say I'm about the same size as Nathan. You can do a lot of things. He can stomp for my feet, right? Ow, okay, you can stomp for my feet just like that. Anything to distract the attacker and for you to get away. Now, Another thing is that we can talk about wrist grabs. So wrist grabs, usually if someone's trying to control you, this is a little bit of a different situation now. This is more for like a situation where someone grabs you and says, you're coming with me, right? So I'm gonna grab his wrist tight. Okay, Nathan, try to get away. What are you gonna do? You're gonna, oh, okay, that's actually a really good response. A lot of people that are not prepared, they panic. If someone's suddenly a stranger, let's say, because Nathan knows me, he's a little bit more comfortable. But if I'm a stranger and suddenly I grab Nathan's arm, he might panic and he might try to pull, just pull to get away. Go ahead and pull backwards, okay? That actually doesn't help you a whole lot. So he's fighting back. All right, so before we even talk about attacking the person, maybe you don't want to resort to striking yet, okay? This is a technique that I learned when I took Hapkido in college, and the sensei called it serving a platter of cookies. Okay, so you're grabbed by the wrist, you would turn, and as if you're holding a tray of cookies, you would turn your body like you're a robot. You don't just turn your body, but your arm stays. Everything has to move together for this to be effective. And the reason is because if you look right here, when you're being grabbed, in order to get out, you need to find the weak spot between my fingers and my thumb. And when you turn, you're torquing and you're able to get out. Okay, so we're gonna try this with Nathan. Nathan is smaller, but if he does this correctly, you're gonna turn your body and with your arms together, you're gonna serve someone a tray of cookies on that side. Good. Let's do it on this side, okay? I'm grabbing you, you're gonna turn your body and your arm, turn your body, and he's gonna break the grip, okay? Sometimes it's a little bit hard if the person's really focused on grabbing onto you. In this situation, you can turn your body that way, turn and serve the cookies, but at the same time, strike. He can turn and strike, right? He can even, if we're standing, he can turn and stomp my feet and then turn and get out. So Nathan is gonna grab me now. Let's just see if we can find a different angle for you to see. So Nathan's grabbing me. This is where there's a break in his grip, okay? So I am going to turn my hand and turn my body, serving a platter of cookies. So you're gonna grab this wrist now, and I'm gonna show from this angle. I am going to turn, Nathan, we're gonna turn and serve a platter of cookies. And that's how you break a grip, okay? Now, next time, in the next video, we'll cover what happens if you're grabbed with two hands. From this way, overhand, underhand. We'll cover that in the next video because you can actually find ways to get out of this. You can incorporate a strike. So I think that's enough for today. If you have more questions, feel free to let us know and we'll be happy to answer your questions. I do hope that in the future I will be able to host some free seminars for anyone that's interested in learning. I really just want to be able to share and teach. These are lessons that I learned since I started my martial arts journey as a teenager. In my first video, I explained that I had encountered bullying before, and it's just something that that kind of helped jumpstart my martial arts interest. But I would love to share my knowledge with anybody who's interested so that they can learn to defend themselves and feel more confident as well. All right, thank you so much. See you guys on the next video. Techniques that we're going to cover. I'm talking about big hands.